What to do, modified family? We're out here in the Honda Fit. We have a little project today. I purchased an engine from a friend of mine, and I also got his good condition RSX steering wheel as well. And I saw a video online of a guy putting an EP3 Type R steering wheel into his Honda Jazz. Honda Fit, Honda Jazz, very similar. EP3, RSX, EK, all have the same splines on their steering wheel. So I'm thinking that I may be able to swap over to a RSX steering wheel. And what will I do about the airbag light? Well, I got some resistors. I watched a video where a guy was swapping an aftermarket like Momo steering wheel onto his Honda Fit, and he bought these and he put a link in the description. So I followed that link and I spent like $12, $13 on these two little resistors, which should circumvent that problem. So I need to figure out how to do this. I have about 40 minutes before I start work. So from you, I just need you to give me 5 on my black hand side. Let's go. I know it's not every day you get to look at a race car motor like this, but just take it in slowly. So I talked to my shop mechanic. I'm like, I'm taking off the battery. Do I take off the negative or the positive? He goes, oh, you take off the negative. So I'm pretty sure this is the negative side, the side that grounds to the car. Perfect. So that was step one. Now I have my tools out and to go inside and take off this Honda Fit wheel. I think it should only be 2 steps, and I think my impact's going to help a lot with this. I need to get through the sides, and there should be access panels. Oh yeah, right there. Perfect. So let me get out my, I think it's like a T30, but let me get that off real quick. Okay, that was very straightforward. Yeah, it was a T30. These spin right out, no problem. And then to disconnect this, there's only 2 things holding the steering wheel on. This air plug clip right here, which is right here. And this just pulls back here. I'll try to grab it, you pull back with your thumb. That one came off. And then this one, which I think is for the horn, the push buttons, that little piece right there. And those come off. And so this might attach the RSX steering wheel. It'd be cool if the horn worked. I don't really care. I more care about like the turn signals working. Like when you turn and they go off. Yeah, because I've had cars where I've messed up the clock spring and they didn't do that. I tried to make sure the wheel was on straight. I am going to zip this off. I think this looks like a 14 or something like that. And then I'm going to unplug this. And I think you need to take this stuff apart if you want to retain this. So I'm going to try to retain this. It doesn't go on the steering wheel. I think it has a different plug. It'd be cool if this plugged right into the RSX steering wheel, but since I've only seen one person doing this and the steering wheel they had didn't have any controls. I know some Honda Fits have like audio controls, mine has cruise controls right here. And so yeah, let's see what works and what doesn't. And then this is the part I was talking about. These are the resistors, and I think these have to plug into this plug deep in there to keep the airbag light from coming on this yellow plug. But I'm also going to review the video I got those from to make sure. It's in. I'm not sure that went exactly the way I wanted to. There was one more thing I should have released on the steering wheel, which I'm holding right here. In here. Bam, right here. Okay, so in here, the plugs come through. There's 2 Phillips head screws that I should have taken out to unplug the cable that holds the power steering stuff, which comes in like right here. Well, I didn't do that, so when I pulled the steering wheel, the whole clock spring just like exploded in my face, which is just a bunch of like ribbon and plastic. And I tried to rewrap it and get it in there, and I did stuff it in there to the best of my ability. But I don't know what that effect is going to have, because I think that clock spring has to do with like when you turn and you put on your blinkers and you make the turn, it clicks off, you know. And I've had cars where it didn't work, so I just click them on and off, you know, and try not to be that old guy on the freeway, you know, in the fast lane doing 65, signaling to the left when there is no left-hand turn. But the new steering wheel's on. It does look great. I got everything in place and it fit in there. I took those 2 resistors from Stereo Solutions, which I may have failed to show, and I slid those in. I have not plugged in the battery, so I need to do a final test to see if the airbag's gonna explode in my face, if my horn works, if my horn's just stuck on all the time. A lot of things could happen when I plug the battery in. I do not know, but let me show you what it looks like. Pretty sick, right? Like, it does look good. It very much looks good. And I just need to put on the plastic cover on this side, because this airbag is not connected, but the plug from the steering wheel to the car has these 2 resistors holding it. And then on this side, this is where this is the old one. This is what the RSX one looks like, but its plug is that little tiny one. And I don't think I can swap it over to this plug, because there'd be nothing for it to attach to. I don't think. I mean, I could have looked a little bit closer while I was in there, but I was kind of panicking trying to get this back together before I have to go to work. But I mean, I can always take this apart later and go into more detail. But I need to take out the controls from here and maybe find some way to mount them. I think they just unscrew and pop out. So we'll figure that out, but I just need to be able to drive home today. So let me plug the battery back in and start this thing and see if it blows up. All right, so I'm still working, but I came back in my suit. The horn works, so that's a good sign. Let's start this bad boy up. I don't know if this is gonna connect to my Bluetooth of the stereo. I meant to turn that off, but I don't know if I did, but let's see. It seems like all the lights have gone off on my dash, so I'm not getting an airbag light. I can hear like a little bit of noise in there from the, let's see. I don't know what that thing does, the thing that came apart. I was gonna open this wheel back up to show everybody, but I don't know what the thing does. My horn works. My blinkers turn off when you turn the wheel enough. So I'm pretty stoked. This steering wheel is just a little bit smaller than the factory one. Not even by a lot, just by like a little teeny bit. Like I put them up to each other and the RSX one's just barely inside by a little bit. So I'm super stoked on that. Next, probably not in this video, I gotta spend some time taking this out. I think this will all unscrew. And then I'll have this assembly, which plugs into here, because I mean, that's all still plugged in. It's all still there. I just gotta find a clean way to mount it. And I do have some ABS plastic. Maybe I might have to drill some holes, because there's a mount in there with screw holes right there. So if I can get it to mount right there and have a little something small that holds these controls, that would be pretty cool. So in America, this is the first Gd3 Honda Fit with an RSX steering wheel. I think it's pretty dope. I mean, it doesn't get in the way of anything any more than the stock steering wheel. I think it just looks slightly better, more aggressive. I put these in all my EK hatches. I have a very similar steering wheel in my EP3. It just has a Honda logo. But with all my shift upgrades and this, it's looking pretty rad, and I am very stoked on this. Yeah, I can hear all that stuff inside there that I should have done something about, but I don't know what that all that fiber stuff does. But I'm still stoked on this with the stereo on. I'm probably not going to hear that. My horn works. We will get power steering to work, and this install will be done. Well, Modified family, this is all I had for you today. I was glad to knock out this quick little upgrade, and it was relatively easy. I would caution, after you get the airbag off and you've unclipped everything, remove the plastic trim piece inside of here. It's just 2 Phillips head screws, and then this will lift, because this is just plastic. You don't need to break it. Then you can unplug the power steering controls and leave that to come out, or like to come out through this hole when this comes off, and that would prevent the little issue that I had. But otherwise, this was a very direct install, and with those steering solution resistors, it made it like no problem at all, and they just plugged right in, just as I thought they would, leaving no extra lights on the dash. All right, Modified family, peace. Okay, we're back off work. We're in a very hot car. It's like 103, 104 degrees out here. So I came back in with my Phillips head screwdriver, and I removed from the front of this the cruise controls, because I wanted to make them work. See, they were mounted here on the front there in the old steering wheel. So there was 2 Phillips on the back that held this whole piece in. I'd already removed this Phillips to get the plug out. And then in the bottom of the steering wheel, it's like a little rubber piece this comes into. So I just gently work this out. Not that I ever see myself wanting to go back or putting this back in the way it was, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't damage anything. And then once this was out, there was 3 tiny little Phillips head that held the little control panel into this. Once those 3, 1, 2, and 3 are out, it just separates. So then I plugged it in here, and I didn't know how I was gonna mount it down here. So I just kind of like pushed it in right here, and it's not really attached to anything. Like I'll try to figure out something to make this more permanent, but it is sitting here. And so when I hit the cruise button, it says cruise on the screen. So I'm gonna go for a drive and test this, but I think this is 99% done, except for a more permanent solution. This doesn't really seem to get in the way of my hand. Usually I'll drive here or here, you know, like a tough guy in the middle there, or hand on this side so I can shift. So this doesn't really get in the way of anything, even though it sticks out more. And I think that's pretty cool. The cruise control configuration for this is obviously a lot cooler, but I think on both the EP3 and probably the RSX, there's a cruise control turn on button somewhere on the dash that you would initiate, where this one is on here. So even if I change the wires to make it this plug and this fitting, I don't think I can use this. But if this works, and I just need to find a way to make it a little bit more stable, I'm gonna be pretty stoked on that. And I think it still looks good, especially if I can retain the functionality. And then I'm driving just for a short clip. I do not have a tripod, so I put cruise control on. It's sitting at about 45 miles per hour. So we still got cruise control, we still got a horn, and things still turn the way that they're supposed to. And I'm going straight, and the steering wheel is a little off, so maybe I need an alignment. But next project, when I have my friend Adam's help again, will be to put new front and rear struts on this bad boy. And then we'll really be cooking. And that's most of the modifications I have for this. I hit the brake, cruise control goes off, just like it's supposed to. I'm not really hearing that noise from that clock spring thing coming apart. So I'm pretty stoked on that. All right, so this is the final end of this video.